Hello, Googlers. Just before we get started, I wanted to pull up the unit objectives and make sure that we're still on track to cover everything in this unit. So we talk about themes, layouts, design, images, backgrounds, shapes, and word art. All right, so we're going to keep covering this stuff and go in a little deeper. But before we get started, I want to look at this 7x7 rule again, because the next couple assignments that you do are really going to focus on creating slides that are attractive and will help your audience understand the information. So remember, you can always take a paragraph of information, read it, take the important information out of it, and put it into a more easily understandable way. So like in here, we have 7x7 rule as the title. We have a bullet. And what these are called here are indented bullets. So we have 7 words across by 7 lines down. These other bullets just explain that a little bit further. So that's something I want you to be able to start using in the future. All right, so let's start using it right now as we make a slideshow for argumentative essays. So we're going to make this slideshow and act like we're trying to teach someone else about argumentative essays. So the first thing we have to do is pick our theme. Let's go with modern writer. Since this is all about writing an essay, we can use this one. And you know, I'm a big fan of blue and white, so let's change this theme so that everything's blue and white. So we'll go to slide, edit master, change this shape to blue. And how about this shape will also change to blue. And let's just go through and fix a couple more things. The only other slide I believe we're going to use is this one. So I think everything looks good. We'll just update the main slide. So here we'll start with our title slide. And what I want to do is, instead of using this text box, we're going to delete it. So click on the edge and backspace to get rid of it. We're actually going to put in word art instead. So word art will be argumentative essay. Let's format it a little bit. We're going to go with theme color close to dark gray 4, and we'll outline it in white. Change the font to Cambria, and then we can make it a little bigger, a little smaller, however we want to make it to where this looks good. So we'll just go with that and center it. For our subtitle, we're going to put by our name. Now we're almost done. We need to put in a little bit more. Maybe let's put in a picture for the background. So we'll go to background, image. Let's go to search, and we'll search, I don't know, person writing. Seems like it would make sense for this. Let's just pick this picture and we'll put it in there. So I think that looks pretty good for an opening slide. Let's start making slides with some information on them. So let's start with our title and body slide. Here, I will put the information on here for you to type. All right, so what I've put in is argumentative essay and the definition for an argumentative essay. I misspelled argumentative, of course, so let's fix that. All right, so type this in, and then we'll do a little bit of formatting and make changes. Okay, next we're going to add a picture. So let's do something like fits that whole argument theme. So go insert, image. We'll go to search, and let's do like person pointing angry. and see what we get. I think this kind of fits arguments pretty well. So we'll put that one in, resize. Let's change the color of this picture. So image options, recolor. We'll go with this one. And let's put a border on it. So we'll make our border blue so it fits in with that blue and white theme we're going with. We'll go with 2 pixels. And we'll do the line dot line dot. So I think that works for this slide. Let's go ahead and put in another one. Another title and body. I'll put in the information for you to type in yourself. All right, so here's the information to type in. This is just important terms to know about argumentative essays. So type that in. Now we're going to do just a little bit of formatting. So let's highlight all of our definitions and terms, and let's just make it a little bigger so that it fills out this slide a little better. So if we go to 24, it's actually too big. So let's type in our own size. Let's go with 20. I think that looks pretty good, but our slide still looks a little plain. So let's insert a picture. Now, when I think of knowing things, I think of a brain. So let's insert a picture of a brain. And let's do clip art so that we don't get an actual picture of a brain. That's a lot creepier than a clip art brain. We can go with, let's just do this one. So we've got our brain. I think we need to do some image options with this to make it fit the theme a little better. So let's recolor it, go with that blue, turn the transparency up to 70%, and let's right click, order, and send it to the back so it's behind all the text. All right, so I think this slide looks pretty good. We could turn this transparency down just a little more so it's easier to read the words. Let's go with 85. Now we can really read the words. I think that looks better. All right, next slide. Another title and body. I'll give you the information. So this is when we're going to start using that whole bulleted list and indented list thing. So the first word I want you to type in is hook. And this is actually going to be our first word in a bulleted list. So let's select bulleted list, and you see the bullet is placed in front of it. Hit enter to make our next bullet. But this, we want to explain what a hook is. So instead of having it directly in line with hook, we want to move it to the right like that. So to do that, you just look down at your keyboard and press the tab key. So we press tab, and now we can type in what a hook actually is, which is something interesting about the topic to grab the reader's attention. So if we hit enter again, we're still on the indented. We want to go back to the left side. So to do that, to move backwards, we go to more, and we decrease the indent. So now we're back in line with hook. So we can do our next one. Introduction to topic, and then thesis, claim. And we need to have an indented bullet that tells us what that means. And then that's all the information we need for the introduction. So our introduction for an argumentative essay has a hook, introduction to topic, and a thesis or claim. Now let's resize this so it fills up the slide. change that to, let's do 24. And let's change the background color of this slide just because it looks a little boring. So we'll change that to, we'll just do a light blue 3. All right, now we're done with this slide. Let's insert another. And this time I'm going to put in the information the way it should show up, and let's see if you can do the indented bullets like I did on your own. All right, so let's see if you can copy this information, put in the indented bullets, and have everything look like mine. The content is size 24 for you to edit that. So we've got body paragraphs, we've got the reason shows up in the body, concrete detail quote, and commentary, and then it explains each of those things. So enter that information now. Now that you have that information in perfectly, we're going to go ahead and let's put in a shape this time just to make this slide look a little better. We'll go with a right arrow and let's draw it around the body paragraph. We can resize it to cover up the body paragraph, and let's change the color to blue, and we can just leave the outline the same. Now we can just move it to the back and change body paragraphs to white so it's easier to read. All right, I think this slide is probably pretty good. Let's move to our last slide. And for this one, instead of doing title and body, we're going to do title in 2 columns. So we'll do conclusion, and the information you need is restate main points, claims, and reasons. So like how we learned about research paper, the conclusion really covers what you talked about in the paper. Let's resize that to size 24. And then over here, we don't want a text box. We actually want to put in a picture. So we're going to click on the edge, backspace to get rid of it, and let's put in our picture. We'll go to Insert Image, and let's do a finish line since the conclusion is like the finish line of the paper. We have to take it off clip art. I like this one. Let's go to Image Options, recolor it. We'll resize it. We will turn it. All right. And then the last thing I want you to do is let's put a blue border on it, 8 pixels, and let's do just the dots. All right, so the last thing I want to do, and this was on the pre-test, is insert slide numbers to all of these. So let's go to Insert and just add slide numbers to all of them. And you'll see the slide number shows up in the bottom right corner of each slide. All right, now that you are done with this one, you can go ahead and turn it in.